Why are you guys upside down? Hey everyone, hopefully you can see me. It's pretty dark out. We just finished the structure of the barn. Still got to put the metal on the outside, so on the roof, and then also on the walls. The roof metal and the wall metal. When it arrives, we'll put it on. It's supposed to be here, I think tomorrow or sometime soon, but they never called to set up a delivery for tomorrow, so I would assume maybe tomorrow isn't their delivery date. But long story short, like I said, the structure itself is done. Wasn't bad at all with the scissor lift. Scissor lift made a world of difference. The scissor lift was the difference between getting all that done in a timely manner. Like, you know, we worked on it for basically 24 hours, sorry, over 3 days, and got it done safely and nobody got hurt. The end truss, that was it was a tricky one. I'm not gonna pretend it wasn't, and I was terrified up there, but they're up there. They're should be good to go. We're gonna get some storms tomorrow, so even if the metal does show up, still won't be able to do anything. But I'll do more of a recap in the daylight to kind of show you all what we did. We didn't record it all because we were just trying to hurry up. We got to have that scissor lift back tomorrow at 9, and it is 1:30 in the morning right now. So it's done, and we're both tired. Again, be safe if you're building something. Make sure you're making sound decisions. There it is, the metal for the roofing. Same driver came back and delivered, and he was nice enough to make it happen today for us. We really appreciate it. And there he goes. Bye. Thank you. That is a really nice guy. Wonderful delivery man. No heartache about how, you know, however you want it, he'll do what he can to accommodate setting it where you want it. Just really good guy to work with. All right, so there we have it. Our metal is here. The metal is actually green. It matches the current barn. It's just, I guess it's wrapped in a white something. Not sure what it's wrapped in exactly. White plastic. I just realized that they're gonna a bunch of 20-foot 2x4s. There's like 6 or 8 under each pallet, so I could have sent more of them back. That's all right. It's always good to have extra lumber on hand. You never know when you might need it, or use it to make feed troughs or something. Yeah, but now that that's here, that means we're gonna have to get to work. But before we do that, let's go ahead and explain. All right, so last night it got dark very rapidly when we were starting to put that end truss up. And while Chrissy and I could have done it on our own probably with 2 people, that end one had me a lot more nervous because of the method that we used to get the truss up there. And I don't think the camera is going to do it justice, but just to give you an idea, from the bottom of this concrete wall right here to the base of that truss, or other words, the top of the wall right here, right there, is 17 feet. And while that doesn't seem like, hey, you know, that's not very high, you know, that's not bad, well, it's up there. The problem is, I guess I can show it better this way. The problem is that I wasn't able to bring the truss up inside of here, because the truss is wider than the dimensions from the inside of this stud to the inside of that stud over there. Obviously it has to be, because that truss has to sit on top of the walls. So the dilemma becomes this. There's no way for me to get a scissor lift out here to lift that up and be able to move it forward into place. So we came up with an idea. I don't know if you guys are going to see it or not. I haven't decided yet. But moral of the story is we got it up there, and it was to the point where I felt more comfortable having two people, one on each side, to hold the ropes to pull the trusses from the edges to be able to get them into place. And the other thing is that I didn't do myself any favors. This end truss is easier to that's what I'm looking for here, manipulate and make wavy. So like, instead of it staying straight, these ones are all actually very straight and they're really easy to keep straight. This one not so much, and I guess it's just because of the way there's no diagonals, it's all vertical stuff. I assume that that's probably the biggest reason why. That truss doesn't have to be as strong, because the vertical 2x4s in there, those are what are supporting the weight. Whereas over here on these, yeah, you have a vertical 2x4 in the center, but then to support the weight on this diagonal going up, there's not another vertical 2x4 like there is on the end one. It's angled cuts that are going to have to support it. So I don't know if that's the reason, but anyways, I didn't lay it on the perfectly flat ground, so it made it wavy. We were able to get it straightened out, and then on the top of it, so the top of the wall, from the whole length of the wall, what we did was we took screws and a ratchet strap and basically took the I'll show you from out here, be easier. We took the truss and had to manipulate it to get it to where it was even with the edge of the wall. And you can see there's a couple of spots where we couldn't get it quite perfectly even, but that's not a big deal. And the reason being is because these 2x4s for the wall purlins are sticking out 1.5 inches. So even though that's not perfectly straight, doesn't matter. I'm gonna have a 1.5 inch, 2x4 going up the top of that truss, down the other side of that truss, and then across. What I realize now, and obviously it's a little late, I wish I'd have put that stuff on before I put the truss up there. Now I'm gonna have to do it the hard way and use the tractor and lift myself up and basically get it attached and then get the next one attached. And it is what it is. It's still gonna work. It's just gonna be a little more complicated. But we were racing daylight. We rented that scissor lift from United Rental, and really great. It was actually wonderful to deal with them. We went over there. Well, actually I called them on Monday, because last Sunday we attempted to put the trusses up and we only got 3 done with Julita and Dominic, and it was wonderful to have their help, but it was just the fact that we just didn't have the right tools and it made it take forever. So we put 3 trusses up with 4 adults in a matter of about 8 hours, roughly. Maybe might have been a little more than 8 hours. Actually no, I guess it would probably be closer to 6 hours, because we started around 11 and then we took a break for lunch somewhere around 1 or so, and then came back out to finish them up. But it took us 6 hours roughly for 3 adults working together to put 3 trusses up. Well, Christy and I put the remaining 12 trusses up, well, 11 trusses up, and this end truss using the scissor lift, and it took us 3 days. Yeah, I say 3 days, but it really didn't take 3 days. It was about collectively probably 18 hours worth of work, maybe a little less. But it got higher as we went because of the way of our slope of our floor. You can see it slopes downhill. So up here we're only working about 10, 12 feet of height, but by the time we get down there it's 17 feet. And then after we got that truss up, that last one, that end one, then we came down here and we started to get all of, now these aren't needed, well, mandatory I guess, or however you want to put it. They're not required. And what we did, I gotta change that one, move it over. But anyways, we put a 2x4 to run from this truss to this one to this one, and then on the opposite side from there. That way it's just constant connection, and it makes it to where the base of the trusses have more support, because otherwise the base of the trusses are very wobbly and they'll wiggle and stuff like that. This makes it to where it stiffens them up. And then the other big thing that we did was all of these angle braces. And these angle braces, again, not required. And I mean, you can look in our other barn. Now, granted, yes, it's less of a span. It's only 30 feet wide. But well, actually, I guess they do have that on there. I never realized that before. Well, anyways, it does have the run down the middle to help the trusses be stabilized, but it doesn't have any sort of angle bracing. And my thing is I'd rather build something stronger and better than what it needs to be, so it lasts longer. These angle braces, basically, once we leveled the walls up, so, you know, if the walls were leaning out or in or whatever, we leveled the walls up, attached it to the truss to where it can't move anymore. Because now with that angle, the only way for the 90-degree angle, let me look on the camera screen, make sure I'm pointing in the right place. So the only way for that 90-degree angle to change right there is that angle right there where that 2x12 or 2x6 attaches, or down here where this 2x6 attaches. It has to change. Triangles are actually the strongest shape, so it is not going to change. Actually, maybe arches are the strongest. Might be arches, but either way, triangles are very strong, and it's not going to change. The only way that's going to change is basically it's going to have to bust that brace or the screws where it attaches, and there's more than enough screws there to hold it in place. Some kind of a wrap up about this building. These diagonal braces are not necessary either, but what they do is they make it to where the wall cannot shift one way or the other. So these studs right now are vertical, right? The only way for them to change is either the screw has to break or the board has to break, because it makes it to where the relationship can't change. Again, it makes a bunch of triangles, because from right here to right there, creates, that's a triangle right there, right? So you have all these triangles that are being made. Another triangle right here, another triangle right there, triangles all the way there, right? And then we keep that going the whole way. And that, like I said, is just to make it to where the walls cannot shift, in this case north or to the south. I haven't done anything on that wall yet, but it's going to get the same thing. Again, not that it needs it, because I can push on the wall, I can do all kinds of stuff, and the wall don't move. The only thing that I don't like is, because these trusses are so long and so it's such a long span, it's difficult to make it to where this wall is as sturdy. Well, I mean, it's sturdy, I'll give it that. I know I'm shaking the camera, so it doesn't really help you. So this isn't moving. I mean, I can feel it move just a little bit, like wiggle, kind of like the base of these trusses do. But I wish it was more like these, where when I push in and out like this, it doesn't move at all. And there's no way for me to put an angle brace. I mean, I guess I could do an angle brace to the next truss, but the next truss is not a sturdy enough task, or a sturdy enough object to attach to, because I'm worried about it. You know, if I were to create an angle brace from here to that, that's a weak point. And if that busts, that means that all that weight that truss is supporting is going to be unsupported and likely fall. So I don't want to do that. I say all this because these are things that, yeah, they're not needed, they're not required, but if it makes it stronger and it makes it to where to last longer. I mean, the 2x4s are, let's see, I used 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, so 7 on each wall, and then I'll use probably 3 on the back wall, so there's 14, 17. I used 17 of them. It's $170. That's not that bad, right? And then I used the 2x6s were extras that I ordered extras because I didn't know if I was gonna have to make extra king studs on the doorways right there, because I was a little worried about how sturdy it might be. Anyways, so I took those and I cut them up and make these angle braces. I think I used, let's see here, so one board made 3 of them because of the 12 footers is what I had left. So that gave me a total of, let's see, 30. So I used 10 2x6x12s, and I think they're untreated, but I think they're somewhere around $8 or something like that. So again, 80 bucks, so $250 to make the building that much more sturdy. That worth it to me. It will be worth it every time. I wouldn't change that. We used screws only. I won't build anything with nails. Nails are good, don't get me wrong. They work just fine. And the beauty of nails is, like, if I have to take something apart on it, so let's say you built a deck, right? It's very easy to take a deck apart that's built with nails. What's not easy to do is to take one apart that's built with screws, because the screws have much higher holding force. And then the other thing is that the screws, you're not gonna be able to just pry the board up. You're gonna have to take all those screws out. So it does suck. It takes a lot more time and effort to tear it down. But it makes it so much stronger. And it's gonna stay stronger for a longer period of time, because the wind pushing on these walls and pushing in and out and everything else, you know, the blasts that happen here at Fort Leonard Wood, you know, there's a percussion that comes through. Yeah, it doesn't, it's not a blast wave, but it makes buildings shake a little bit. So anything that makes a building shake, if it's got nails, it's slowly wiggling itself loose. Screws, not so much. Screws have a much higher holding force, or much higher grip, I guess you could say. So we use screws only. The next video you're gonna see is Chrissy and I putting the roof on, and then it's gonna be it's gonna be a little while before I get a chance to put the walls on. Like I said, can't tell you all what's going on, but I'm not gonna be able to do that, so at least not in the near future, but we will get it on before winter. It won't hurt the boards. They can get water on them and stuff like that. It won't really matter. The only one that needs to be treated is that bottom one, because the water might stand on the wall, on the top of those walls. Obviously, I don't want the water to get in there and rot the boards, but the ones that are vertical, the ones that are up off of the wall, don't matter. The water isn't going to have enough time to sit there and soak into the board to rot it. So this is, I don't know, I feel like it's probably the largest project ever done by a husband and wife. I say only, but like I said, we had two friends that came and helped for these first 3 trusses, 2 and 3. They were wonderful help, but unfortunately, you know, Julita and Dominic, they have stuff going on in their lives too that they have to fix and work on and stuff like that, because they have their own farm. Kevin, who owns this farm back here, he came and helped us put this end truss up, because of the nature of trying to get it up there was really not the best. But anyways, other than that, 100% Chrissy and I did this on our own.